Hello, everyone. We have been given the opportunity and privilege today of talking to Mike Nelson, formerly of Mystery Science Theater 3000, and now of rifftracks.com. And today we're going to talk to these guys about their move to the internet and what they're doing now and how they have influenced the nerd culture that brings us to so many people today. So Louis, let's start.
All right. Mike, there is a question that everyone has always wanted to know. Ever since the days of MST3K and even through today, it's an important question, a highly philosophical question, and it is this. What was your favorite and least favorite part about working at TGI Friday?
My favorite part was the free broccoli soup that you would hide in coffee cups and sip as though you were just, I'm just having a cup of coffee. And it was very, very filling and nutritious, and you didn't need to eat for a couple days. So that was good. The least favorite part, it was probably the antique fans used to fall off the ceiling at just odd occasions and occasionally almost crush children. And so if you were in that section, there was a lot of explaining to do, and I never liked doing that.
Well, thank you. So,
That's your head reaction.
Mike, personally, I think we all are huge fans and have been for a really long time. First of Mystery Science Theater, and I think it's really great that you found a venue on the internet. How has the fan base changed now that you were on TV for so long, and now with the internet, it's a lot more populist approach, and more people can get involved and sort of do their own takes on the sort of thing that you do. And how do you guys feel about that?
Well, I like that. I mean, we always had that, we wanted to have a sort of closeness with the fans because it was such an odd and esoteric thing that we did and continue to do that it's not going to be for everyone, obviously, and that's fine with us. But being able to sort of be closer to people who actually like it, and it's kind of like, I liken it to people who watch tennis or people who like to play tennis, they know something about it. And it's not like football where, guys who they have nothing to do with it can watch it. So, and that's how I feel about our thing, is like people usually are pretty adept at, manipulating media and being sort of observant to media. So it makes sense that people would also kind of want to participate in it more than in other things, which we love. And on the internet, we get that opportunity.
That, of course, is awesome, and, of course, we really appreciate the fan interaction that occurs there. As RiffTracks has developed, iRiffs have become more frequent and used from any number of places, be it on just people on YouTube riffing on a public domain movie, or the iRiffs available through rifftracks.com itself. And now my question then is, do you watch any iRiffs? And if you do, what are some of your favorites?
There are so many. What we tend to do is watch snippets of them once they have been compiled by some of the other writers, sort of looking over the best. But my job is so all-consuming. Anyone who's done the iRiffs knows that the writing process of it is just enormously time-intensive. So I don't think that I've actually sat down and watched a full one from start to finish, to be honest. So we sort of we get like best of reels, and so that makes it a nice concentrated rush of good humor. But I'm always surprised at how, well, not surprised, I'm pleasantly surprised at how, adept people are. And one of the things that we always encourage is for people to really pay attention to their tech, because they're really good at other things, and then and the experience can sort of be diminished by just a little thing on the technical aspects. So it's been good to see that some people have sort of learned that lesson, and just a little bit of tweaks can make something, just present itself so much better.
I think, part of the reason we're here is because we were so influenced by Mystery Science Theater, just the way you look at things and the approach to criticism, riffing and whatnot. And I think a huge little subculture, for better or for worse, has sprung from it, almost as a direct result of you guys. Have you noticed, and what kind have you, I guess what I'm trying to say is, how do you feel about your influence, for better or worse, now that the internet has made riffing sort of much more widely distributable by amateurs?
I like it a lot, and I'm very pleased. I mean, I don't think we invented that, but I think one of the things that we did do is that we showed a lot of people that it could be really fun to do it, and not necessarily. I guess there's sort of a misunderstanding about it being sort of a closed little club or group. Like, it was never an intent to be a cult thing. It's just that's the way it works out, and so I'm pleased to see that the internet allows it to be as big as it possibly can, because it's not like, you can be a member of our little secret club if you know our little passwords and stuff. It's like, no, we're really just trying to be funny. This is the stuff we're drawn to, and it's going to be for a smaller audience. But that separation now doesn't, we don't have to worry about it. We were always worried about, ratings and everything, and now we don't have so much of that concern, because it's reaching the people that it is. And to see that influence spread out over the internet is it's really gratifying, because you can see people having the same sort of fun that we had with it.
Has being the master of your own destiny, such as it were, influenced content, now that you don't really have to, I guess, worry about a network?
Yeah, well, on both sides of it, both in the content that we produce, but also the content that we're able to use has been great. Very, very nervous. Media companies will not use anything that, even if you're certain that you're not going to get in trouble for using it, or that it's free and clear, they will always find a reason to say, no, well, we could possibly get sued if someone is watching that movie and, trips and falls into a bathtub, and there happens to be, there's always some justification for why you can't use it. And we know when we clear an item like this thing is okay to use, we just go ahead and use it. So it works that way, but also in the content of just not being edited by anyone but ourselves, which we never had a big problem with, but it is a little bit of an annoying gateway on the end of it when someone says you can't make a joke about such and such a celebrity because there's a chance that he could sue you. It's like, no, there's not. There's a 0% chance, but you're making it up. So it works both ways, where it's a little more free on both sides of it.
How do you respond to people who get angry that you riff on movies that are considered quite good? For example, I have a friend who is absolutely livid that when you announced that you were going to riff on Highlander, but as a whole, to expand beyond just that certain example that all the people who are listening to this know who it is. For example, there's the movie The Dark Knight, which some have said is a transformative experience. Avatar is another one. Basically saying that these movies are so important and so changing. And how do you respond to people who say, "How dare you riff on such a important film," or something like that?
Well, usually the answer is pretty simple. Like, we did a live show of Jack the Giant Killer, an old 1962 fantasy movie, and a lot of people had seen it when they were kids, and like, that's a great movie. The answer to that one is, well, have you seen it again since you've grown up? Maybe it's not as great as you say. But on the other end of it, on the other side of it, there are good movies that we've done, and in one sense I get it, where people are sort of responding to the Mystery Science thing. The whole setup was we watch terrible movies and we make fun of them. But we did a little bit of a shift with Riff Tracks, where we have allowed for good movies, because we think the experience is only about, when it's a terrible movie, you can't sit there for 2 hours going, man, this is terrible, look at how awful this is. We don't do that. It's not fun. Mostly we sort of just do like sitting with your funniest friends, and you're just sort of making jokes about it, and it doesn't impact the quality of the film all that much. When it's appropriate, we do it. But in the case of a good movie, it's just that same experience, where this is a good one that we're all familiar with, and we like to sit around and watch it more than once, and so here's a way to enhance that. So I would say it's sort of built in that we treat each movie appropriately. We don't, we did Casablanca, for heaven's sakes. It's my favorite movie. We're just trying to enhance the experience of something that's probably familiar to most people.
How do you power through when you're not feeling funny? Or if Mike Nelson ever doesn't feel funny, which God forbid.
It happens. It happens all the time. No, I sort of enjoy that challenge of it, and that's one of the things when you're sitting down to do the experience of writing it, you have to realize that it's going to be a real slog, and it takes a writer's discipline of just, you just take it moment by moment and think, I have to solve this problem. I have to, get the best joke that I can at this moment in this space, and then move on. And so solving each one of those little problems has its own, reward. But the big payoff doesn't come till later when you have a funny product. It's hard work. But you can't just let those moments go. I think that's one of the things that maybe some more inexperienced writers just think, well, there's nothing to be gained from that moment, so let's just move on. It's like, well, you have to do something. You have to try to solve it. You have to try to elevate it and make it funny in some way. And then all those other things that are sort of easy pickings then will be elevated that much more. So it gets to be sort of a technical challenge, but also it does have its rewards when you really aren't feeling inspired or funny. It pays off later.
Quick follow-up to that. Have you ever been surprised by a reception something got? Like whenever there was a negative reception, you thought it would be great, or something you hated and people loved?
Yeah, that happens a lot. You see it in the live showings of it. We do our live shows in the theaters, but we also do screenings of our films at outdoor theaters. There's one here in San Diego that does it, and you're always surprised by, man, I thought that joke was a home run, or the little gimme that you didn't even, it was a throwaway, and that becomes the center and the focus of everybody comes up afterward and says, oh man, how did you come up with that? didn't really come up with it. It's just like laying there. But, but that's how comedy works, and you take it as it is. And I think, on the whole, though, you just keep relying on your sense of, what generally you know about comedy. And so those surprises they're fewer than the ones, that are a little more routine, where if you're sitting there writing and you go, wow, I came up with this is a pretty good line. I mean, not to pat myself on the back, but I think this is going to work. Usually it does. You just have a lot of instinct behind you after, all those many years.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think we're coming close to our time. Louis, would you like to wrap it up?
Quick question then, just to end this out then. What are your favorite types of movies to rip on? Public domain schlock, blockbusters, movies with a cult following because of their badness? Just, what do you enjoy ripping on most?
I have to say, generally, I do like the 80s sort of cheese. I love Roadhouse, and I like Over the Top, and stuff that sort of takes itself pretty seriously and is formulaic and sort of entertaining enough on its own, kind of moves along, and isn't that long. They back in the formula used to say about 98 minutes was the top end of it, and it gets a lot harder to be funny after that time because you've sort of burnt out all the comedic premises and you're sort of done, and you kind of have to restart the engine. So shorter is better, but stepping back a little more, I think it's more of like a technical issue of if a movie just has too much action or is too talky, no matter what goofy elements are in it, it's really hard to rescue it. So whatever provides that balance, and I do like the Twilight movies, all that being said.
Ironically or unironically? Now that we like things ironically.
I like the way that they play out. I mean, I just like the seriousness with which they take themselves, which makes good fodder for our riff tracks.
That is very true. And we thank you for them.
Oh, it's always our pleasure.
Well, thank you so much for talking to us today. And we wish you the best of luck, and we hope to see a lot more from you guys, Bill and Kevin, in the future.
Well,
Thank you again, sir. You are a great inspiration to all of us on the interwebs.
Thanks very much. Best of luck. I look forward to seeing. You got any iRiffs in the works?
No.
I keep thinking I need to start doing iRiffs, but the one person who you've worked with, that guy with the glasses, he has been regularly producing the That Guy Riff segments, and we've always been enjoying those.
Excellent.
And he is. I think. Well, we all are very big fans of you guys, but I guess you've actually spoken to him, so.
Yes. No, I know. He's great. Well, I appreciate talking to you, and best of luck with everything.
Thank you so much.
Thank you again, sir.